Hello friends, welcome to my channel Creating Essence. I am Megan. Thank you so much for stopping by today. It has been a hot second since I have filmed anything, and it's been even longer since I have done a sit-down talking video. If you saw our most recent video, it was about the shock that 2020 is handing to us, and that is a very unexpected but very welcome pregnancy. I am pregnant with baby number 7 right off the bat because people are going to ask. No, this was not planned. All of the rest of our kids are 20 to 30 months apart, and our youngest, Solomon, is just about 4. So we were pretty sure we were done, and it's always been our plan to pursue adoption of teens and or sibling groups from the foster care system once our youngest was kind of past the really needy baby and toddler stage and had great verbal skills. And that is something that we were hoping to pursue this year. Instead, we are diving back into the newborn stage. My estimated due date is August 18th, which means I am currently in my 9th week. First up, how am I feeling? This has been a really hard pregnancy, and actually it has nothing to do with pregnancy. The very day that I found out I was pregnant, we all started coming down with a virus. It was 2 to 3 days for each of us of typical flu-like symptoms. It seemed like classic flu. It wasn't very severe in any of us. As happens with Solomon, when he gets a fever, he has seizures. Aaron got pretty sick because he's just our immune suppressed kiddo, but they all recovered from it fairly quickly. But I was the one that, was up with kids at night who were sick, taking care of people, checking temperatures, watching for seizures, stuff like that. So I got pretty run down, and I ended up getting bronchitis after a week of the virus itself, which actually wasn't even that bad. The bronchitis was bad. And then about a week into the bronchitis, I started having dizzy spells, and the dizzy spells got worse and worse until the week after Christmas. I couldn't even turn my head without just the world spinning, and I would start vomiting from motion sickness. I was pretty sure it was inner ear stuff. I went to urgent care. They confirmed it. Also that it was bacterial because the drainage from the bronchitis and stuff just hadn't gone away, and it had kind of festered into a bacterial infection. So I took a heavy round of antibiotics, which were pregnancy safe. I was sure to work with the doctor on that. And I'm a little better every day. From what all the things and doctors say, it can take a couple weeks, even after the antibiotics are done, to really drain the ears. And even after that, the vestibular nerves that are what control your equilibrium going into the brain and all sorts of things. It can actually take a couple more weeks after that for the inflammation, once they've been really irritated from infection, to subside. I'm about 2 weeks into treatment, and I still get pretty dizzy. I'm kind of always dizzy, but it's not as bad. Every day it's a little better. So I am grateful. As far as how am I feeling with pregnancy symptoms, I've lost 4 pounds. I usually get hyperemesis with 4 of my 6. I've had hyperemesis gravidarum, which is like horrible vomiting, horrible. Like you can't even swallow saliva. Anything goes in your stomach and you throw up. I have been on Zofran in several pregnancies, which is a medication made for chemotherapy patients to help them keep food down when chemo is making them so sick. Thankfully, it's been rough, but it's not been that bad. I started with the morning sickness, all day sickness really, around 6.5 weeks, which is actually really good for me because when I've had hyperemesis, I'm usually really sick by 5 weeks. So it's still manageable. I'm really grateful. I did invest in one thing that's been super helpful to me, and that's Emesis Bags. If you don't know what these are, They're a handy dandy little thing that tuck really nicely into a purse or any spare compartment. And they hold puke. And then they twist up and seal up really neatly when you're done for disposal. Keep those in my purse, next to my bed. Keep one on the couch. Because this being my 7th pregnancy, I have learned that it can come on pretty quick. And especially with how dizzy I've been, there's no guarantee I can get anywhere to take care of things. So those have been priceless. Another thing I invested in was, of course, prenatal vitamins. They are food source, they're organic, they are all the natural forms of the nutrients instead of synthetics. It's the methylated B vitamins and all sorts of things. Unfortunately, they're pretty big. And my throat from the regular upheaval has not been good at swallowing them. So I was just making sure I could get one of these chewable methylated B vitamins down each day. But when I went to my first prenatal appointment, my midwife actually had another option on hand that I've been using and I've been really grateful for. These also, they have a bit more sugar than I'd like and some fillers I'm not fond of, but they are soy-free, dairy-free, and they do have the natural forms of the nutrients as well as the methylated B vitamins. So until I can swallow my regular vitamins again, these have been really great. Before filming this, I put up on my Instagram one of those question boxes for questions if anybody had them for me for this pregnancy update. And I will go ahead and answer some of those now. What made you think you were preggo? You don't have to answer if it's TMI. It's not TMI. I just, I chart to keep track of my fertility signs and things like that. And it had been a really busy month with Thanksgiving and all sorts of things. And the odds were ridiculously slim that anything was even remotely possible. So I didn't even think of it. And we were on our way to Bible study one night and I realized like, I'm late. And I pulled up my chart and I was like, I'm quite late. And I just took a test. So there were no clues. It just, realized I wasn't paying as close attention to my chart because the odds were ridiculously slim. So it wasn't even close. Another question, are you still gonna garden this year? Of course. It's gonna be a little different. I am due August 18th, which is kind of the peak of harvesting season. So I'm not really sure. I may just end up putting a call out on Facebook every now and then and being like, hey, there's stuff in my garden that's gotta go and I'm in bed. So you want veggies? Come pick them. Another person asked, will you find out the gender? Actually, a few people asked this. And yes, we will. We always do. It's just so nice to be able to name them and bond with them. And I know a lot of people say like finding out at birth is the ultimate special surprise. And it's not, there's no experience like it that can really be duplicated in life. But it's really special for me to be able to knit and sew and prepare a wardrobe for the baby. And doing that really specially based on who that baby is. So we'll be finding out. I'm considered geriatric now. I'll be 36 next month. So my insurance covers all the fancy blood testing. So I get to do some really cool non-invasive prenatal testing, including finding out the gender at 12 weeks. So we're doing that at our next appointment on February 4th. So that is really exciting. Another question is, what exactly is your emotional state? Happy, excited, scared, etc. I'm honestly overwhelmed. The physical stuff I've been dealing with has been so frustrating and overwhelming. And all of a sudden I feel like I'm gonna cry, but I'm not gonna cry. It's just really frustrating what I've been going through for the last 6 weeks, completely unrelated to pregnancy. And that's been really, really hard. But I think that's all kept me really distracted because I realize every now and then, like, if it weren't for the throwing up and the prenatal vitamins, I would forget that I was pregnant. So I think that's all kind of surreal still because of the like inner ear infection and like how much that is overwhelming and difficult to deal with all day, every single day still. What are your biggest cravings and worst aversions? I have an aversion to anything I see or smell while I feel nauseous, and I'm craving absolutely nothing. I have been so sick for the last 6 weeks unrelated to pregnancy, including nausea and vomiting because of motion sickness, that I just look at most things or smell most things and I just want to throw up because they make me feel sick because of being sick in proximity to them lately. So, yeah, it's been rough. I have realized most mornings, once I finish the, oh look, you're upright, you should probably throw up for 10 minutes, or at least dry heave for a while, that I can keep down pretty predictably, like 1 or maybe 2 fried eggs. So I've been able to get protein that way. And I can usually eat like a sliced up apple. That's been pretty good. Pretzel rods. Just random things like that. And sipping a lot of coconut water because I have an aversion to water, which is ridiculous because I drink at least a gallon of water a day when I'm not pregnant or breastfeeding. So that's been rough. Are you having much morning sickness? Not as much as in the past, more than most people, but less for me. So hence the reason I am losing like a pound a week. So, you know, it's not awful. I'm sure it's my level of sickness currently is awful for most people. I mean, I know that for a fact from, you know, being a doula and what my care providers tell me. But it's better than hyperemesis, and I'm really grateful for that. There are a couple questions about names for the baby. I think we're gonna wait until we find out the gender before we really start talking about that seriously. We kind of have a funny dynamic in our family where Josh and I both talk about names, and we've always talked about it very mutually, but for some reason, Josh always ends up naming the baby, like not even intentionally. He just always ends up being the one to pick the name. So I'm kind of resigned to that now. The last couple babies, I've thought of names and tossed them out to him, and he chooses. Once we know what the gender is, we'll probably do that process. We are really big on meaning. Like, we strictly choose names for their meaning. We will kind of start thinking about that seriously when we know the gender next month. I am starting to have a hot flash now. I'm gonna go because you don't want to sit here and watch me start sweating profusely. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer them either in the comments or for the next video, whatever. We hope to catch back up. I hope to have the energy and the inner ear infection stuff to kind of ease up more and more so that I can get back into filming our regular content, like our vlogs and our homesteading and homeschooling and just regular large family life stuff that you all have come to expect from us. So I hope you all are having a wonderful January. If you like this video, as always, my friends, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to hang out for more. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.